The American President Donald Trump has announced a 10-day ceasefire in Lebanon. The announcement has come after the American president had a phone call with Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun and the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. The American president said that he'll invite the Lebanese president and Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House for the first meaningful talks between the two nations since 1983. The ceasefire will come into effect from 2100 hours GMT on Thursday. And the American president added that Vice President J.D. Vance, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane will work with Israel and Lebanon for a lasting peace. And just before the announcement, the Office of Lebanon's president issued a statement on X acknowledging a phone call between the American president Donald Trump and the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun. The Lebanese president had thanked President Trump for exerting his influence on the Israelis to bring about this truce in Lebanon. This comes in the backdrop of some heavy bombings that the Israelis have carried out over Lebanon. Hezbollah, for its part, has said that it has struck multiple Israeli military targets in recent hours. One of the key attacks apparently was at an Israeli army gathering. Hezbollah has also been using some heavy artillery-style shelling against Israel. The visuals released by the group show artillery guns in active use. The use of such weapons reflects both Hezbollah's range and also its heavy combat capabilities. Now, Israel has, of course, not held back. The IDF, remember, has been carrying out widespread bombings across Lebanon, particularly in the capital city of Beirut and also in southern Lebanon. And it claims that it is targeting Hezbollah infrastructure. And according to the Israeli officials, at least about 200 targets have been bombed in just the last 24 hours. The IDF has released some more footage claiming continued strikes on Hezbollah positions and warning that operations will in fact intensify further. Hezbollah's lawmaker Ibrahim al-Musvi says that the Lebanese group will respect a ceasefire with Israel announced by the American President Donald Trump if the Israelis stop their attacks. He also went on to state that the ceasefire would not have happened without Iran, considering the ceasefire is equal to closing the Strait of Hormuz. Now, following the ceasefire announcement, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu convened an urgent security cabinet call. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. John Erat, who's a Senior Policy Director for Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation, is joining us live from Washington. Mr. Erat, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. And let me start off by asking you this. This ceasefire that Donald Trump has announced between Israel and Hezbollah, in your assessment, is this something that leads to possibly second round of talks between Iran and the United States, or is this something that he's trying to do just to stop the violence in Lebanon?
I think you have that right. The Israeli attacks into southern Lebanon were widely considered to be one of the factors that undermined the previous round of direct negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. So it's reasonable to think that the White House may have wanted to clear this away as a possible spoiler before going into a second round of talks.
And we haven't yet heard from the Israeli Prime Minister. The last time Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, the Iranians said that the ceasefire was comprehensive. It included Lebanon as well, but the Israeli Prime Minister immediately rejected it, and the next day effected some of the heaviest bombings that Lebanon had witnessed, in which more than 300 people got killed. In your assessment, how do you think the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu now react to the American president announcing a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah?
It's difficult to say. We know that this was coordinated with the Israelis, or at least that's what the White House has said, that the ceasefire came after a call between Israel and Lebanon. So that would give some level of confidence. But there has been little to provide confidence in ceasefires overall in this region. So we're going to have to wait and see how things develop on the ground. Remember that the ceasefire is between Israel and Lebanon and does not include Hezbollah, which is one of the main actors in the conflict.
I mean, from the Lebanese side, the only side that is fighting, the only faction that is fighting is Hezbollah. If the ceasefire is between Israel and Lebanon and does not include Hezbollah, then this ceasefire is meaningless. And you say that the White House has said that this has been done in coordination with Tel Aviv, but we've heard nothing from Benjamin Netanyahu's government except for the fact that there is going to be a cabinet meeting to decide the future course of action. In your assessment, what do you think Netanyahu's calculation would be? Because there are several objectives that he had stated he wanted to achieve in Lebanon. None of them have been fulfilled.
I think he's waiting to see what the reaction is from Hezbollah. That is, as you say, his primary opponent. And so he's going to wait and see if the firing from the Hezbollah group actually stops before he decides if he's going to observe the ceasefire. He's keeping his options open at this point. We all know Hezbollah gets their orders from Iran, so it's going to be very significant what the position of the Iranian government is on all of this. And they also have not weighed in.
Right. Now, another important question that a lot of people, of course, want to know, and I want you to weigh in on this. In the negotiations that were held between the Americans and the Iranians in the first round, the ceasefire in Lebanon was a key sticking point that, if the ceasefire holds, were being taken out of the equation. The other issues, that of Iran's nuclearization and, equally importantly, that of Iran's nav control of the Strait of Hormuz. Do you think any other of these other key sticking points has been addressed at all for a second round of negotiations to happen between Iran and the United States?
That's really the key question. These remain to be sticking points, as you say. It's the option of Iran giving transparency and assurances on its nuclear program in return for sanctions relief has been there for years. For various reasons, both sides have been reluctant to take it up, but it seems like there's a possibility that there could be room for agreement if both sides are going to show a little bit of flexibility. But that's going to require careful negotiations, and it's going to require detailed technical knowledge. The U.S. team did not bring technical experts to Pakistan when they went last week. So I would be very interested to see if they're going to have someone who has the technical knowledge on nuclear weapons and arms control joining the team this time, or if it's going to continue to be the president's friend and son-in-law.
You know, President's friend and son-in-law, that is Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, have, of course, appear to be the star negotiators that Donald Trump has got to feel. We'll have to wait and watch if the second round negotiations will happen and who the negotiators will be from the American side. Mr. John Irath, thank you very much indeed for joining us with our perspective then.
You're very welcome.